Introducing Hot Shot Jackpot, Paddy Power's new free-to-enter competition, available to all customers. Every Premier League week, simply pick 8 anytime goal scorers from 8 selected matches, and you could win £250,000 or more. Excludes in-shop bets. 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
It's like jumping into a lovely warm bath after a long walk in a freezing wilderness. International football, get lost. Domestic football, welcome back. This is the Racing Post Weekend Football Postcast. I'm Bruce Millington, and in the company of my Racing Post colleagues Dave Clark and on the line Mark Langdon, as well as from Paddy Power Sean O'Sullivan. We will spend the next half hour discussing the key issues, the fallout from the international football. We'll have a look ahead to the Champions League, which starts next week, but in between time we'll get stuck into the big live weekend matches, and we'll also look further down the coupons for the best value. So hopefully by the time you've finished, you will be well tooled up to give the bookies a good old spanking this weekend. Before we go any further, I owe a big thank you to Sean O'Sullivan, who I last spoke to at the fag end of last year when he was still going on and on about the fact that Portugal were going to win the Euros. In the end, I relented, had a nice big bet. So, Sean, many thank you. A lot of those strawberry mojitos that I enjoyed on the beach were down to you. Now, what have you done with the money, Sean?
No problem at all, Bruce. Most of it has been scuppered lovely in the United States, unfortunately.
Oh, really? Did you go and have a good blowout, did you?
Yeah, we were there for a month. The hangover has literally just receded. It was well worth it now. It was great crack. But to be honest, I'm happy to be back to normality and back to the punting.
And you were never in any danger, were you? I mean, they absolutely dominated every single game, won by 3 or 4 goals and just breezed the final.
I don't know if they actually won a match, did they? I'm not even positive. I think they were all just draws nearly in the end, but they beat Wales. But they were... Yeah, look, I thought the Euros was always going to be just a poor event, and I think it turned out that way, and a bit of luck involved obviously was needed, but yeah, lucky they got over.
Well done, Sean. And not just for me, but I know a lot of people who I've bumped into since, and they said, that fella from Paddy Power on the podcast, he said, well, I backed Portugal just on the back of that, so I think you made a lot of people very happy, so well played.
Much appreciated, Bruce.
Good. Talking of international football, I mean, it was dull, but I suppose the fact it was Big Sam's first game, Dave, made it slightly interesting. I thought the tactic of letting a has-been captain roam wherever he liked was quite interesting. Did you see anything, any rays of hope for England?
I made the mistake of Sky Plus in it and actually making the effort of going out of my way to watch it. And yeah, I mean, Rooney's a strange one, really. I mean, given a free rein, he's not really for me. And then you've got Jordan Henderson. I'm not really sure what he's just energy, running around, rubbish. Not really doing it. But Rooney, I mean, we've got John Stones and Eric Dyer, 2 ball players playing deep, and Rooney's dropping so deep that they're playing like 5-yard passes. So it's almost redundant having the likes of John Stones at the back. So
did you see anything right across the international weekend, Dave, that you thought that could be quite interesting from a punting point of view? No. Mark, same question to you.
I thought the interesting results were, I mean, Sean mentioned about how poor the Euros were, and I think that was maybe franked by just how terrible most of the teams that went far in that played. You know, I mean, Portugal already been chinned by Switzerland. France couldn't beat Belarus. Even teams that sort of shocked at the Euros, like of Hungary, didn't come out and do anything special. I think it was just one of those poor tournaments. Really, if you played it again now, you get a completely different result because the teams were much of a muchness. Apart from the best team there, which was Germany, and again that they showed how good they are. They absolutely thrashed Norway. I mean, the football they played is on a different level to just about anybody else. I think in Europe, in terms of they play almost like a club side. The way they keep possession, their attractiveness, and I suppose from Italy's point of view, that was a big result for them away in Israel. And if Verratti would have been fit for the Euros, maybe they could have gone on and done even better.
Is there a minnow, Mark, that you think might outperform their current price in terms of maybe a little group bet or a team to follow in some of the coming matches?
Not massively, no. I mean, the one that you like pre-Euros, Croatia, Bruce, probably. I mean, they've only drawn against Turkey, but they did really sort of thrash them on the all the stats and everything there, and just got done by a deflected free kick in a 1-1 draw. I mean, they were the best team in the group stage, weren't they? At the Euros, got beat by Portugal in that horrid match that was played immediately after Wales Northern Ireland, which was just as bad. So they probably weren't that far away from winning the Euros. Just got chinned by Portugal just like everybody else did, sort of, in a game that could have gone either way. So maybe them, but I mean, I wouldn't want to be tying my money up for until 2018. And there's plenty more, we can be getting stuck in.
We gave Algeria a mention, didn't we?
Yeah. Your colleague Ed Quigley, Sean, he was big on Algeria. Funny enough, I backed them for the World Cup at 300s because Ed was so insistent that we lump on.
A lot of decent players. I mean, a lot of French rejects, but they are a pretty good team. I think there is one actually good bet here in the groups for the Euros. They did draw now against Belarus, I think, or Bulgaria was it, but France at 4-5 to win Group A looks massive. How Holland are 11-8. It's very close in price there to win that group. I mean, France are miles better than Holland, aren't they? Am I missing something here? I don't really know, but it just seems ridiculous that France are rated that closely to the Dutch with everything that's gone on the last few years.
I think they did you a huge favour the other night by not winning, Sean, didn't they? There's plenty of crumpled coupons on the floor after that, wasn't there?
It was looking disastrously there for a while. But Holland drew with Sweden. I know that was a tougher match, but I expect the French over 10 games. You'd expect to top that group, and close to even seems huge, I think.
Okay, it is a load of old garbage at the moment, international football. It's so boring, isn't it? I can't be doing with it at all. I said in my column today, they should have a qualifying tournament in the June of the odd-numbered year for the finals the next year, and then let us enjoy some domestic football the rest of the year round. So that's enough. We're drawing a line under international football. We've got a fantastic weekend lined up. Starts at 12:30 on Saturday with Man United versus Man City. The rest of the media will be going mad about Mourinho v Guardiola and all that old crap. We're going to focus on the football, where the value lies, and we'll start with Sean O'Sullivan giving us Paddy Power's show on the big game, the Manchester Derby.
We're 5-4 United here, Bruce. The draw 23-10. That's proven very popular, and City 23-10 as well without Aguero.
The draw's popular. I didn't think anyone backed the draws.
It never usually isn't backed. I just think this one game, it just suits both. It's sitting on the fence kind of game, I think, and people are kind of being drawn towards it. I can see why, to be honest. It does seem like the most likely result in my book.
Lango, before we get your expert view on this game, what do you think of these 12:30 kickoffs? They're just creeping closer and closer. It used to be 12:45. I don't like these big games being on a Saturday lunchtime. I just think it's too early. It's like, I remember once Frankel ran in the first race at Royal Ascot. You don't want that. You want to get into it a bit more.
Sunday, 4 o'clock for the big
Exactly.
games
Yeah,
for
you
me.
do. I mean, it is a shame, really, that it's the 12:30 game after the international break as well. So you've got the South American players sort of coming back from wherever over the. I think they sort of started making that journey, didn't they, yesterday? But it's going to be a long trek. No, it's not right. I mean, I suppose it's probably to do with it's the perfect kick-off time for Asia, isn't it? I would have thought this time, the 12:30 Saturday. I know the Spanish have moved their games. They've actually got.
They've got an 11 o'clock, haven't they? Now?
Yeah, 12 o'clock every Saturday now. So I think it's all about sort of catching the eye of the Asian market, and there's probably no better time for them than that Saturday, lunchtime kick-off on a Saturday. So I think the bookmakers would prefer it to be Sunday 4 o'clock, wouldn't they? Because that's the biggest turnover one. It is a weird way to start the weekend with the biggest game, but
particularly because at 12 o'clock you've got Celtic Rangers, haven't you, this weekend? So that's clashing as well, which is a real big shame. But anyway, we're here to sift through all the best bets. So, Mark, what's going to happen? Man United or Man City?
The draw, Bruce. I think the draw's definitely the best value in this game. I mean, I just think if we get to an hour and the teams are level, I mean, they don't appear to be that much advantage to going all out to get the victory. I think it's one of those games. You mentioned it's early kick-off time. It's also really early on in the season. I mean, in Guardiola's book, Pep Confidential, he speaks extensively about how you lose the title in the first 8 matches. So I can see City being a little bit more cautious than normal. You'd expect under a Guardiola team, particularly without Aguero. Mourinho, I don't think is going to push it. I think he always fancies his chances of beating the smaller teams and just sort of holding on in these bigger games. And it just wouldn't surprise me if this actually, although it looks a great game on paper, if it kind of disappointed slightly. I think it's going to be low scoring. I think it's going to be very tight, and I think that brings the draw into play massively.
OK, talking to Guardiola, what do you think his column's called in the Matchday programme, Dave?
Pep Talk?
It's got to be, hasn't it?
Well, it should be.
If it's not called Pep Talk, there's something badly wrong, isn't it?
It should be.
I suppose it could be
Definitely.
On Guard, couldn't it? You have to say it's Guardiola, isn't it, Mark? It's not Guardiola.
Yeah, it's Guardiola.
I had some bloke abuse me on Twitter saying you've
Talk,
mispronounced it. It's got to be Pep Talk.
Yeah.
I can't believe they would miss that, but hopefully someone can confirm that. Right then, Dave, Man U v Man City, the result will be?
I fancy Man City to edge it. I do, actually. What for me, the game might hinge on is Mark touched on, I think Valencia's coming back from international duty Ecuador. He's sort of arriving 24 hours before the game, apparently. Luke Shaw obviously withdrew from the England squad early. Took no part.
That was weird, that wasn't it? He just got, he's just not feeling right.
Well, yeah, apparently it was the leg that he broke. He was getting a strange feeling in that, which I'm no physio, but that can't be good. So there's sort of question marks over both fullbacks, and Man United have played with the same back four every single game this season. You know, we know like Mourinho likes to sort of keep a stable defence, and if one of them's missing, it might just knock them out of sync. And especially if I'm not entirely sure he would come in at left back. He's got a few options, but Raheem Sterling likely to start on the right. I mean, if Shaw's missing, he could make a real difference in this game. So I'm looking at Man City to edge it maybe 1-0. What I will say is, anyone interested in shirt numbers? Aguero missing, obviously. Iheanacho might come in. He wears number 72, which is interesting.
It is. Yeah, you got to be careful. Do you bet shirt numbers? Do you do all that?
The one I like is headed goal minutes. I'm a fan of that one.
Good.
Yeah, well, that was when Allardyce was at West Ham. That was one to sort of keep an interest. But yeah, Iheanacho 72.
Sean O'Sullivan, how do you think this one will play out?
Yeah, I love the fence here. 23-10, stick with the draw. I think like that whole 60-minute of being tight kind of thing is the angle to look at, and 0-0's 8-1. I think I'd rather back that than probably the 23-10. Like Mourinho was, I mean, there was so many 0-0 draws in his Chelsea tenure, kind of away to kind of the bigger teams. I think this will kind of set up similarly. I mean, a draw will suit United here. They don't want to lose. City without Aguero will surely take it as well. So 0-0, 8-1. I just want to beat a kind of price off the team here. We went up with Rashford to start in this match, and I'm kind of unsure about the price we went up with. I'd be interested to hear the lads' opinion and what they think his chances are of actually starting in this match.
What price did you go up, or do you want to get the lads' opinion?
I want to get the lads' opinion first, if you don't mind. Yeah.
Right, Dave, will Rashford start?
Yes, on the left instead of Martial.
Okay, Mark?
I don't think he will start, purely because of the reasons that have just been mentioned about United wanting to keep it, relatively tight, particularly if they've got an issue down one of the fullback sides. So I would have thought he'd probably go Martial again.
Go on then, Sean, how'd you bet?
There we go, 50-50, and we're even money on it. So, yeah, it looks like it is a kind of 50-50 job.
Yeah. That's an interesting one. Good market, that. I like that. Now, we better talk about the Old Firm game. Obviously, like I say, it kicks off at 12 o'clock on Saturday. Give us the key prices, Sean. What are the bookings over under?
Yeah, so the bookings over under is an out yet. Now, I can tell you that the spread, I'd imagine, will be high for this game. I think they generally revolve around like 85 points. So I think we'll be looking at about maybe 8 yellow cards over under there. We're actually just comparing a game like this to the kind of Lazio-Roma games and the Real Madrid-Barcelona games. Are always so high in the booking supremacy compared. A red card is 13-10 in the match. I mean, you'd never see a price like that.
13, that's as short as I've ever known.
That's an enhancement on 13-10. That will go up general. That will go up a general even money shot. The only time it's ever odds on is actually a Lazio-Roma match. 4-5 it was last year. But 13-10 on the sending off. Barton and Brown, the two favourites, obviously at 10-20.
Did you see that tackle? Was it the Kilmarnock fella on Joey Barton? Did you see that, Lango?
I heard about it.
Oh my goodness! I've never ever seen anything like it.
Yeah, he's.
Whoa.
It's interesting because I think there are some Rangers borrowed a Tottenham player last season, and he was doing all kinds of sort of rainbow flicks for the first part of the season, and then I think a couple of the lower league Scottish lads took exception to it and just sort of cleaned him out wherever possible. And I think Barton sort of got a target on his head, hasn't he?
He's a popular lad.
Yeah, he's not the most popular, is he?
Right, well, has anyone got a view on the game? Well, how do you bet, Sean, first of all?
We're at 8-13 Celtic, very popular. The draw 3-1 and Rangers are 4-1 at the moment. We have a load of derby specials up as well, actually, just combined the two matches with the early kickoff. So if people want to have a look at those, there's
Give me a flavour of that.
Well, we've got like Zlatan and Griffiths to both score. That's surely a popular bet, 3-1. And we have the sending offs up there. A sending off in both games, which is probably a decent bet, is 13-2. That would be no bigger than, I think, 5-1, 11-2.
It doesn't sound like one of the sort of prices you want to lay, does it?
No, we don't. And it is a special, and I think 13-2 is probably fair there. Another interesting one is probably Barton to be sent off and Griffiths to score. That's a 18-1 shot.
Oh, blimey. Any views on the Old Firm derby, Dave?
I like the lad Griffiths, and I think he pulled out of the Scotland squad. Nothing too serious, so he should be fresh. He'll be certainly a runner, anytime scorer, that kind of job.
Okay,
4
Mark.
or 6 anytime there, actually, Griffiths.
Yeah, I mean, I've been disappointed with Rangers so far. They don't look good enough at the back and the quality that Celtic have got going forward, I would imagine that Celtic would win the game. They've improved a lot, I think, since the two teams met in that Scottish Cup semi-final, which of course Rangers managed to progress through. It looks like Brendan Rodgers has got them going. They've got this trip to Barcelona coming up, haven't they, in the Champions League? But I think the Old Firm should make sure the nature of an Old Firm game should keep them concentrated enough. I would imagine. So Celtic should oblige there.
All right, 5:30, the second Premier League game on Saturday. Another fascinating contest. Liverpool versus Leicester. Sean O'Sullivan, how do Paddy Power bet on that?
Yeah, we're 4-6 Liverpool here, 3-1 the draw, and 4-1 Leicester.
Start us off, Dave.
Well, the 4-6 Liverpool is won't be very appealing if Coutinho doesn't play. He's sort of the heartbeat of that side, and there's big question marks over whether or not he starts.
Why, what's up? Injured spirit, lack of courage.
Something like that.
He bottled a challenge unbelievably the other week. Goodness gracious, man.
So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be taking... I think Paddy Power... Are you top price about that?
Yeah, we're top price. I just think it's the best lay ever. Like, I just don't get it how they're that short. But, I mean, we are that short. So 4-6 just seems super short to me as well. Like.
What's going to happen, Dave?
Well, I'd like to see Sturridge play up top to start with. I mean, Klopp's been messing around with sort of the false nine and Firmino here, there and everywhere. But, I mean, just play him up front where he should play for England. If that happens, then I can see plenty of goals in this. Looking forward to seeing the £30 million Algerian, Slimani, for Leicester, billed as the Algerian Vardy. Lots of pace. Decent in the air as well. I could just see goals in it. I wonder, where was the line? Is it 2.5, 3.5? I mean, I'm looking at goals here. So
yeah, the overs is a 4-6 shot. I mean, it is fairly popular there, I guess. I mean, if we're looking further down the line and maybe over 3.5, it might make more appeal. There's actually a winning over 3.5 goals special that we're going to have up. Leicester 14-1 in that market. That does seem kind of interesting. You'd imagine they will concede, but that Liverpool price is just so short, really.
Neither have looked decent at the back, so I can just both teams to score however you want to play it. There's goals everywhere for me.
Okay, goals for Dave. I don't think that the Algerian Vardy would have fetched £30 million 5 years ago with that description, would he? But he's an interesting player for sure. Mark, are you all over Liverpool, or do you think they're a lay?
I don't think they're a lay. No, I mean, I can fully understand why they're 4-6. I'm still struggling to place Leicester in the pecking order. I don't know if they're sort of, a team that's going to finish 6th, 7th, or if they're going to be 13th, 14th. I'm really just don't know at the moment. But what I do know is that Liverpool against Tottenham for an hour, that's the best that I've seen any side play at White Hart Lane since Pochettino was manager. I mean, Tottenham couldn't get out of their half at times. I thought Liverpool were absolutely amazing and didn't give up that many goal-scoring opportunities. Got a little bit unlucky, I think, really, with the goal that they conceded. I was looking at that they started so quickly against Spurs. I think if they can attack Leicester with the same kind of pace, I was looking at Liverpool half-time, full-time double result market. That they could have been out of sight at White Hart Lane, before Tottenham pegged them back. I mean, they play in such bursts of quality against Arsenal when they scored, all those goals. Just after half-time, they were absolutely amazing for 15 minutes. So, I mean, I'm becoming more and more impressed with Liverpool as the weeks go on, even though the results may be not forthcoming. I fully expect them to win this game.
They do play at a phenomenal tempo. It's almost too fast. And one little angle with Liverpool I've got is that I try and oppose them by buying the other team's goal minutes, because I just think they run out of puff. They just play so quickly, don't they?
They do. The angle of the bet here is that they can get in front and then maybe slow the game down a little bit, which is what I think they tried to do away to Tottenham. But I mean, that's still a good point. They've I know they lost at Burnley, but I mean, you have a look at the stats from that game. It was a bit of a freak result. They've won at Arsenal. They've taken a good point at Spurs from 3 away games. I don't think it's been a bad return for Liverpool so far. They absolutely won convincingly as well, didn't they, in the League Cup? So I think they're definitely heading in the right direction. I fully admit to not having a clue really about Leicester at the moment. I'm still waiting and seeing.
This is a man who's got a clue about, Turkish 4th Division teams and the champions of England. He hasn't got a clue. I've never heard anything like it, Mark. But what I love about you is that when you don't have an opinion, you don't try and make one up like all those other fraudsters you hear on the radio. So more power to you. But now, there is a difference of opinion here, Sean, because Mark's pro-Liverpool. You sound very anti-Liverpool. Why?
Yeah, it's 6-4 by the way in the old Liverpool halftime, full time. I just think I think 4-6 is too short. Like, I mean, off a team. I know, look, they won the league last year, but I actually think Leicester have been okay this year. I thought they were brilliant against Swansea. I saw a real kind of, I mean, the conditions were brutal, but they play with some pace again. Liverpool tend to, I think, just do really well against teams that come at them. Spurs kind of epitomise that, I think, in the way Liverpool dominated that match. But I think a team like Leicester that will sit back, try to get them on the break, I just don't think they're half as prolific. The Burnley game, they dominated possession, but they didn't have much of a cutthroat, and that was Burnley sitting back. I think for that reason alone, I just can't back Liverpool at 4-6. Much rather back them in a game away from home against a big team. They go off 7-2, 4-1.
What are you going to do here then, Sean? Just have a dirty great lay, or are you going to have a little play on Leicester?
No, I think I'd back Leicester. I expect there to be goals in the game, and if there's goals, I tend to avoid the draw, so it gets more and more unlikely. So I think Leicester at 4-1, I think, is a fine bet for me, really.
Okay, let's get the best bets of the weekend.
This will not be beaten.
Now, I normally very modestly say I'll get mine out of the way because mine's the worst one, but I don't think it is going to be the worst one. I've seen, sometimes I have a kind of little saying where just look at the prices and the best bets are the ones where the price just comes off the page and absolutely screams at you. And I'm looking at your 7-4 Newcastle, Sean, to win at Derby. That looks a huge price to me. Now, there's a big danger when you watch one, you sort of dip into low league football and you watch a game and you think, blimey, they were rubbish, and it's just a one-off. But I looked at Derby against Burton, I thought they were absolutely hideous. Not just in the way they played, but the spirit and the attitude, the body language. I thought they were terrible. I think Newcastle won't be valued very often this season, but I think they're massive, massive value to beat Derby on Sunday. So 7-4 Newcastle is my best bet. Over to you, Dave Clark.
I'm going to break the golden rule, and I'll be back in my own team this weekend. West Ham at home to Watford. I thought they'd be a little bit shorter than what they are. In truth, I think the return of Payet and Lanzini is just going to be enormous for West Ham, and I think 5-6 Paddy Powell looks a big price for me.
Mark?
I'm going to go for both teams to score, Palermo versus Napoli. It looks to me as if the markets haven't reacted to Palermo's new manager who's just been appointed this week, Roberto De Zerbi. He's absolutely phenomenal attacking coach at Foggia in the third division in Italy last couple of seasons. I mean, the season before last, they scored the most goals in that division and only finished 7th in the league. Last season, they were easily the highest scorers. His team scored in 18 of the last 19 matches. They lost the playoff final 5-3. I think that tells you all about this coach. He's coming under the radar at Palermo. I think he's going to shake them up, make them a much more attacking, high press, aggressive side. They take on the Napoli team. There were 112 goals last season in their matches. They've played twice this season. There's been 10 goals. Paddy Power are shortest in the market at 4-6, but I really do think that this has got both teams to score written all over it.
And there you go, all you pseudo-shrewdies. That's why Mark Langdon is the man. Absolutely superb. Sean, what's your bet of the week?
The same bet as Mark. It's unbelievable. I'm going to go with the draw in United City. I think 23-10 is huge, so I'll stick with that one.
OK, fair enough. Quick break, and then we'll look back at this Sunday and Monday action.
Check out Paddy Power's latest football offer. For both Man United v Man City and Swansea v Chelsea this weekend, back a team to win and get a free bet if they're losing at half-time. Max £25. TNCs apply. 18+. Gambleaware.co.uk.
Welcome back. Bruce Millington, Dave Clark, Mark Langdon and Paddy Power's Sean O'Sullivan are looking ahead to the weekend football, and we've arrived at Sunday's sole Premier League game. Starts at 4 o'clock. Swansea versus Chelsea. Dave Clark, what will happen here?
Well, I'll be interested to get Sean's view on the market. I mean, looking at the price, I think Swansea have been one of the best back sides of the week. Chelsea look plenty short enough to me, although I've been quite impressed by them. It'll be interesting to see if Conte sort of switches the formation as well. He might go
three at the back.
Yeah, he could do. I mean, I wouldn't want to play David Luiz in a back four with him playing two centre-halves, but be interesting. But yeah, I wanted to be with Chelsea. They've left it late a couple of times, notably against Watford and West Ham, but they've dominated games, and I've not been all that impressed by Swansea, so I'll be interested to know sort of where the money's coming from.
So a straight bet on Swansea for you?
No,
Chelsea, pardon me.
I like 2-0, 1-0, 2-0, something like that.
OK, Sean, has there been money for Chelsea, for Swansea, and if so, why?
There has, yeah. I think we were as big as 6s when we opened up. We go up 4 weeks in advance of all the fixtures, so we do tend to get filled in when kind of lines begin to move. But a couple of big hitters coming in for Swansea. Why? I agree with Dave there. I don't really understand. I think Chelsea kind of a 3-5. It is jumping out at me. I think Swansea have been pretty hard this year. I think they'll probably go down. I thought that last year too, though, and did my conquer. So I mean, Yeah, I think 9-2 has gone way too short on the Swansea side. I'd be backing Chelsea there as well, I think.
What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I agree. I think Chelsea will win the game. I was looking at maybe 1-0, 2-0, or Chelsea under 2.5 and under 2.5 goals could be the way to go in this one. They've only allowed 5 shots on target in their 3 matches so far, Chelsea, which is a massively impressive statistic, albeit that not been the hardest set of matches. They've played against was it West Ham who were missing Payet. They also played against Watford and then against Burnley, but still to only concede 5 shots on target is very impressive, I think, from them. Actually, the unders hasn't copped in any Chelsea game so far this season, but it's only because of late goals. 87th minute or later, all 3 of them have turned what would have been unders into overs. So I think maybe we're getting this picture of Chelsea being an attacking team that's maybe played out on the stats isn't quite as true as it looks. So I was looking at Chelsea to win a narrow victory at that.
Is the manager shaping up to be everything you'd hoped, Mark?
What Conte? Yeah, I think so. I mean, the thing that's impressed me most about him, Bruce, has been the changes that he's made. Against West Ham, he brought on Moses, wasn't it? And he helped to change the game. Against Watford, again, just Fabregas comes on, Batshuayi, so he has got these options on the bench. He's not afraid to use them. He makes big calls. Tactically, he can now play the 3 at the back if he wants to. He's got
Do you think he
wing
will?
back. I'm not sure he'll do it just yet because he hasn't had long to work on it because some of the players were away on the international break, and he's got to bring in Luiz and Alonso, I think, to make that work.
So who would be the wing backs, Mark?
Well, if he goes that way, it'll be Alonso, the new signing from Fiorentina, and Azpilicueta. There's been some stories this week that Ivanovic's Chelsea career could be coming towards the end, really. Conte's not been that impressed with him right back, which I think anybody that's watched Chelsea for the last year and a bit would probably agree with. I disagree with Dave. I think Luiz is a good signing for Chelsea. Even if he doesn't play here, though, I mean, Swansea haven't got much up front, so I think it will be a narrow Chelsea win.
A resounding vote for the Blues. OK, Monday's game coming up.
Check out Paddy Power's latest football offer. For both Man United v Man City and Swansea v Chelsea this weekend, back a team to win and get a free bet if they're losing at half-time. Max £25, T&C supply, 18 plus, gambleware.co.uk.
Welcome back. We've got to the Monday game. Good old Monday night football is back, and it's Sunderland versus Everton. All the focus on David Moyes against the club where he did best in his managerial career. Sean O'Sullivan, how are you betting?
Everton are 11-10 here, actually. It looks pretty short again. The draw 23-10, and Sunderland are 27-10 at home.
We'll stick with you. Explain why Everton are too short.
I know it's kind of like, I mean, they've been all right this year under Coleman. I think they look a bit improved, but yeah, Sunderland look solid enough under Moyes. Like, I don't think they're great. I don't think they're going to set the world alight this year. They'll be struggling to stay up, but I'm just never backing Everton around even money away from home against the majority of the teams in this league. They have to do more to impress me for me to get involved at a price like that. Saying that, like, I wouldn't exactly be getting too stuck into Sunderland either. The draw is probably, if I was having a bet, I'd probably be getting involved there, 23-10.
OK, draw for Sean. Who for you, Dave?
Yeah, a bit of a ball fest as well, I think, for me. To echo what Sean said, I've been impressed with what I've seen of Sunderland. And far from disgraced against Middlesbrough, a team I rate highly, like what I've seen so far with them. Man City as well, and then barring that absolute howler from the keeper against Southampton, would have nicked all 3 points there. So wanted to try and keep them on side or be against Everton, and yeah, not many goals, no goal score at 7-1.
That sounds all right, doesn't it? Mark Langdon.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to be with Everton. I mean, there was a bit 6-5 knocking around last week, which has all but disappeared now. So I think maybe Lukaku to score could be a better way of supporting Everton. He looked very lively against Stoke, even though he didn't score there. He was getting into the right positions. I think Koeman is going to play much more to his strengths than what Martinez did. You know, that they are playing a bit more direct. I mean, but I'm just looking at Everton. Maybe why they're so short in the market is to do with the stats, because they've won the shot count in all 3 of their Premier League games so far this season, even against Tottenham. The shots on target stats against Stoke last time out, 9-1 in favour of the Toffees there at Goodison. So, I mean, according to the stats, they've absolutely battered Stoke. last time out. So I think that may be influencing the prices slightly there. I don't particularly rate Sunderland. I mean, Dave mentioned there about the Pickford mistake. I mean, that's a problem they've got now. I mean, they just, the goalkeeper Manone, I thought was one of their better players. So, I mean, the fact that he's been out injured and out for a while, I think is a problem for them. So, Everton, probably about the right price. I'll go for Lukaku to finally open his account for the season.
Before we go, let's have a look at the Champions League. And obviously, Mark, one of the reasons you're not in the studio is that you're locked away at home. You haven't got time to commute to Canary Wharf because you're churning out so much expert copy on the Champions League pull-out, which appears next Tuesday. We're doing it on the day?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, it's all live on the run, so it'll include sort of the 8 Tuesday matches within the pull-out.
Just give us a clue for who you're going to be tipping out, right? Is it one of the shorties or because you always used to tip the third best team in Spain, didn't you? But that was a long time ago, wasn't it?
I mean, the heartbreaking. I tipped Atletico the year Ramos equalised in injury time, which was a bit of a sickener. I think that there's two teams that are miles better than the rest actually, and that's Barcelona and Bayern Munich. I think they're quite a bit clear of Real Madrid, even though Real Madrid won it last season. So I mean, I think one of those two will have to enter the equations. I mean, of the ones that are further down, Napoli have always looked to me to be a team that you might be able to get to go quite far in the competition, and Juventus have been backed pretty heavily since they got Higuain, but I can understand why. This is a team that I think sort of built for knockout football and should go pretty well as well. The one I don't like at the moment, Paris Saint-Germain, they haven't been good enough in recent years, and then they've lost Ibrahimovic and Luiz. That's two of their starting 11. I think Arsenal might be able to do them in Group A, actually.
OK, well, let's get the lads' best bets for match week 1, as I'm sure they call it on the UEFA website. Dave Clark.
Well, Mark kind of touched on it there about being against PSG. I think they were taken apart by Monaco on the counter-attack. 3-1, I think the score was. And, yeah, Arsenal look a big price at PSG. So, yeah, Arsenal for me.
Arsenal for Dave. Mark, who's your week 1 good thing?
Yeah, I mean, I would be a layer of PSG and also a layer of Tottenham against Monaco. Dave mentioned there Monaco beat PSG 3-1. Tottenham look short enough considering the games at Wembley. I mean,
sell out,
don't know
though.
what home advantage is. Nobody's ever really been able to
sell out,
explain.
Mark. Surely that's got to be a handy advantage for them, isn't it?
What's that, sorry, Bruce?
It's a sellout, isn't it?
It is a sellout, yeah. I mean, they've done quite well with the cheap ticketing there to make sure that they've got a good atmosphere for the game. But I mean, just like the comfort of playing at home, they have lost that. And White Hart Lane's turned into a very hostile environment for teams in the Champions League. The last time they were in it, I don't know if you can recreate that at Wembley. People are not all sitting together. I think it could take a little while to work that one out. I mean, odds on to a decent Monaco team looks a little bit short to me.
I don't remember Arsenal being that brilliant when they played their Champions League game at Wembley, weren't they?
I mean,
they almost called it a curse, didn't they?
Yeah, I think maybe it's a very short amount of fixtures that we're making our minds up, and maybe they would have lost those games had they been at Highbury as well. We just don't know, but it's got to be a little issue. I would have thought. I mean, they were training on the pitch a couple of weeks ago, Spurs, but I mean it's still going to be pretty new to the majority of the players, and I think they have given up at least something in home advantage, and the price they're going off. I mean, it makes me think what price they'd be at White Hart Lane to win that game, because it just feels like that they're too short, almost as if they've been priced up as if it is White Hart Lane.
Are you going, Mark?
No, I'm not. I've drawn a very short straw. Actually, not only am I not going, I've got to look after 2 kids that are under the age of 8, so I need to get them in bed by 7:45, which is unlikely.
God, you're a millionaire, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll let you know what happens.
Yeah.
Sean, 2 things we need from you. It's a show of prices on the Champions League and your best bet for match week 1.
Yeah, I'll give you the bet. I'll go with under 1.5 in PSV Atletico at 6-4. Simple reason, Atletico away from home in the Champions League just tend to put up a bore fest, and I think they drew 0-0 in the knockout stages last year and had about 20 penalties each. Just kind of would set up as a draw, I think. In the outright betting, yeah, as Mark alluded to there, Barcelona and Bayern dominate the betting. It's 11-4 Barcelona, 4-1 Bayern. Real Madrid look a little short, I think, at 11-2. Man City look really short at 10-1, and that's all the Pep factor. Juventus 12-1. Dortmund are in there then at 16-1. There's been a bit of money for them, but the gulf between them and Munich, I just think it's not really showing those prices, not enough anyway. Atletico Madrid 16-1, and then the unfancied PSG are 16-1 as well. Arsenal then 20-1.
Lovely stuff. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for listening. Back next Thursday with another Racing Post Football Postcast.
Introducing Hot Shot Jackpot, Paddy Power's new free-to-enter competition, available to all customers. Every Premier League week, simply pick 8 anytime goal scorers from 8 selected matches, and you could win £250,000 or more. Excludes in-shop bets. 18+, please gamble responsibly.